Hello, this is Eric Michael Lloyd, Master's in Psychology, Neuropsychology concentration. Been considering lately for a long time leaving the country. Either that or having to go to court, fight every single day. People usually take things as a joke until it gets serious and you have to take them to court. So the only way is to fight for what you want, what you deserve. There's so many times something can happen over and over again before it's win, lose, or draw in a courthouse. So what's in front of me? Printout, complaint, and request for injunction. United States District Court for the blank district of blank, blank division. It's not filled out yet. Like if somebody knowingly does something to someone repeatedly, intentionally, and know that it's causing a harm, I mean, what sentence should they get? What do you do about harassment or invasion of privacy? Somebody told me the other day, "Oh, you're not looking too good. You gotta take care of yourself." I was just waking up. I'm doing just fine. People say little slick things, you know. You try to be a nice person, try to be a good person, try to have integrity. You always try to find a way to mess with you. Try to go to the gym. Shouldn't feel like I should have to bring headphones every time I go to the gym. Yeah, I'm going to decide that I'm dealing with reasonable people. decision, or I'm going to decide I'm not dealing with reasonable people. If you're sitting in your room by yourself, why should you hear somebody down the hall reading what you're reading on your screen or on your book or whatever it is? Well, as far as I've gotten was the person denying or people denying it. And then that only leaves one other option, the witch hunt. A perfect hearing, I have near perfect vision. I run, I exercise, and I read every single day. Study. And something so small that when you add it all up over time, it's something large. Every time I attempt to sublimate it and continue, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that anymore. Everyone knows what mutual respect is. Everyone can feel it. It's not something you have to convince someone of. I'm not trying to create a ripe situation for risk or harm. I know that much. I don't know if everyone else is on the same page. I know what risk is. I know what harm is. I know what creating a hazard is. Isn't a high horse or any of that stuff like that. It's the truth. If two people think that they're playing a game, if one person rather thinks they're playing a game, and the other person doesn't think it's a game, it's not a game, from what I read. The only way civilly, as a civilized person or educated person, is to go to court. It's the only way to handle it. I feel like these things have created a hazard, the things that I've been speaking on. I feel that due to that hazard, there's been a significant risk and some loss. This hazard wasn't created by me. And you would think, when somebody's trying to lift weights, you probably wouldn't gossip about them right next to them or behind them. I mean, that's what you would think, right? Somebody's got 400 pounds on their back, or someone's in a business meeting, or someone's trying to take care of some work, some business. You would think that people wouldn't try to get in their way, right? That's what a normal person thinks. If I don't like something, I don't think something is justified, I'm going to speak out against it. If I don't speak out against it right then in that moment, I will. People can say whatever they want, make jokes, call me a baby, but I'll keep speaking to it. People are more interested in the what's called the right to privacy. It's a review article written by Samuel D. Warren II and Louis Brandeis, published in 1890, Harvard Law Review. I was reading something about his same view on privacy that when that's gone, then you lose integrity. The foundational construct to the building of successful societies. akin to unreasonable search and seizures, which is in the United States Constitution. They're one and the same. He argued that it's a right, primarily as a right to be let alone. I never want to come off as harassing or even abrasive, actually. But I will fight for what I believe in any way that I possibly can. I don't hurt people, I don't lie, I don't cheat, and I don't steal. The words do fall out of my mouth. At this point, I really don't care who the person is. Everyone's on the same level. Everyone has the same rights. How old, how small, what's happening. It says the fundamental principle is that the individual shall have full protection in person and in property. What does that mean? Full protection in person and in property. I mean, just for the property that they own? Is it talking about their intellectual property, their emotions, their thoughts, their feelings? Is it talking about their person as themselves? Don't people have a right to that, to their own privacy? And if that right be taken away, shouldn't there be a legal reason that's fully explained and understood? Perhaps maybe there's a court proceeding that needs to occur to explain that to whoever's on either side of this. It's the most litigious country in the world. Why not? If I take a stab at it and I just so happen to get the wrong person, there could be amendments done. But if I get the right person or the right group that's engaging in harassment and abuse of rights to privacy, peace of mind, then I guess that's a win for all mankind. Now, when I say mankind, I mean men and women. First, it talks about common law, the first three paragraphs of the same article by Justice Brandeis, regard to life and property. Originally, the common law right to life only provided a remedy for physical interference with life and property. That's physically harming someone. But then later it says the scope of the right to life expanded to recognize the legal value of sensations. It meant that man was now capable of having a sensation, having an emotion, and man was also thought of as a feeling or as a human. That's what that part means. Because the person has to be thought of as a human to grant those types of rights. Rights that somebody would say would be nebulous. Well, I mean, you don't have any physical damage to your property or your person. I can't see any marks on you. Yeah, but there's a different type of damage that they're talking about. Louis Brandeis. This is 1916. We have Facebook and social media, and we volunteer some of these things, but some of these things we don't. Some of these things are very clear that we don't volunteer and we don't want. I mean, if it's very clear, why cause a problem? People can call it a game, people can call it a joke, but it's not. There's all type of psychological games people play with the people, and I'm just not playing those games because I've already read up on them. So when someone tries to gaslight me, I already know what's going on. When someone tries to do triangulation on me by talking to someone else about me behind my back, I already know what they're doing. They're causing and wreaking havoc. That's what they're doing. That's their intention and that's their purpose. I, I try to help people. I give people money that I don't even have. I'm not going to get in a vicious cycle with people, whether they're friends, family, or whoever. People want to make false claims behind my back, say things that aren't true. If I hear it every so often, I'm going to make sure that my side of the story is known. Call whatever you want. My estimation, that's exactly what I do every single time. As a psychologist is supposed to correct any misrepresentations of themselves. And that's all that I seek to do every single time. You know, the devil is really pesky, really tricky. I don't want to have to go into sociopathy to explain my point. But somebody who's a sociopath knows how to get under people's skin, and they can do it reliably. And then if you don't want to play, they could say, "Well, you're just not being a good sport." No, I mean the first like 30 times I was a good sport. Now when it's bordering on abuse, I'm gonna get upset and I'm gonna start filing some papers. Doesn't matter who it is. Everybody has rights. Everybody's born either a male or female, or the medical and biological science already says it's already out there. And that's all we have. We don't have no statuses. There's no level up, no level down. Can a mother or father get away with beating a child to death because they're the child? So in the fourth paragraph, Warren and Brandeis, they explain the desirability and necessity that the common law adapt to recent inventions and business methods, namely the advent of instantaneous photography and the widespread circulation of newspapers, both of which have contributed to the invasion of an individual's privacy. Warren and Brandeis take this opportunity to excoriate the practices of journalists of their time, particularly aiming at society gossip pages. The press is overstepping in every direction the obvious bounds of propriety and of decency. Gossip is no longer the resource of the idle and the vicious, but has become a trade which is pursued with industry as well as effrontery. It means it's pursued vigorously, an unnoble cause, a malicious cause. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't care how cool it is. I don't care what you say is strong or weak. I know it is right. There's no strong and weak in that. There's no power dynamic in negotiation. To satisfy the prurient taste, the details of sexual relations are spread broadcast in the columns of the daily papers. To occupy the indolent, column upon column is filled with idle gossip, which can only be procured by intrusion upon the domestic circle. You always set people right, no matter who they are. No matter if you get beat up, thrown down, talked about, there's a real God above everyone. They know exactly what's going on. probably seems unrelated, but it's not. I've written this online before. I used to go to the gym, high school football. The coach would look around, he'd walk in with a Bible. Never ask you, ready for football practice afterward. You walk in, look around, put the Bible down, put the lesson plan down for the day, assess the situation for a couple seconds, 30 seconds, you'd sit there, watch everyone playing around. You'd say, you won state championship, so I mean, you probably were doing something right, right? He said, this ain't the country club. You didn't say it like that, though. He said, I'm from P. Ryan. He said, the country club. Power room. He'd say that last part so loud, the birds in China would hear it. And guess what? We got to work every single time, like a clock, like the gun when it goes off in the racing, every time. So I go to the gym, I assess the situation, see there's a lot of talking going on. I'm glad people show up, older, younger, women, men, whoever. But I know there's a difference between going to the gym to play around and talk and gossip and actually going to the gym to work out. And I mean, the people that are there to gossip, talk about people behind their backs, or even try to get their attention in the wrong way. They shouldn't bother with the people that are trying to actually lift weights, especially really, really heavy weights. I feel that's a hazard and a risk as well. Creates a hazard for people, a risk of harm. All that I have is my word. That's all I really need. It's all that I need. And maybe it helps somebody, maybe it doesn't. But I've got to do what I got to do to succeed. If somebody's in my way, purposefully, what else am I supposed to do? Doesn't matter who, if it's a company, a state, whatever it is. The way you get to a better society is by treating everyone better in that society. Fairness is a really, really big thing. If the fairness is taken away, people won't play the game. And I don't mean game, I mean they won't engage in it. The basic things that we value, that everyone values. Just common sense stuff. Looking online, it said there's a video that said, "Oh, each American citizenship is like a bond, like a U.S. bond." Maybe they took bonds out of her life or something like that. So as soon as someone's name is on the defendant list, they want to get upset. I'm all about communication, negotiation, but I'm also about fairness. I know it's right and I know it's wrong. I'm about play, but after work, can't play if you got stuff to do. And I have quite a bit of things to do. I'm not procrastinating. Most of the time, I'm getting myself ready mentally. I only have a master's in psychology. I don't have a doctorate. I'm not a neurosurgeon. I'm not a politician. I don't own a $1 million or $100,000 or even half $100,000 business. All I have is reason to give people in rough electric shocks. Everybody wants everything to be all fine and dandy, but that's not how it works. There's no law, there's no jail, there's nothing. There's death can't keep you from what's right and what's wrong. People have died before. I've always been the type of person that just rather keep to myself, more of an introvert. Like to read something or know something or learn something or build something, produce something, influence something positively, to make a good decision, decision they can make, that they want to make, to bring them to the next level, financially, whatever it is, helping with some psychological process, because I can understand the value in that as well. Then it goes on to Warren and Brandeis examine the law of slander and libel, forms of defamation, to determine if it adequately protects the privacy of the individual. The authors conclude that this body of law is insufficient to protect the privacy of the individual because it deals only with damage to reputation. In other words, defamation law, regardless of how widely circulated or suited to publicly publicity, requires that the individual suffer a direct effect in his or her interaction with other people. The authors write, however painful the mental effects of another upon another of an act, though purely wanton or even malicious, yet if the act itself is otherwise lawful, the suffering inflicted is danum absci injuria, a loss or harm from something other than a wrongful act, which which occasions no legal remedy. If somebody asks me to do something, accommodate for them in some way, and I'm able to do it, I do it readily because I believe in the good of people. I clean up my own mess and other people's messes. I also get help myself while I'm in school, in the local government for food, my mom giving me a room to stay, however temporarily that may be. I can't keep revisiting the same topic area. The only thing that I've been trying to do this entire time is do my work. That's it. And it doesn't leave any room for anyone else to wiggle out of. But that's it. There's more to the right of privacy and its limitations, whatever it so far. In the next several paragraphs, it says, and this is Wikipedia.org, the authors examine intellectual property law to determine if its principles and doctrines may sufficiently protect the privacy of the individual. Warren and Brandeis concluded that, quote, the protection afforded to thoughts, sentiments, and emotions expressed through the medium of writing or the arts, so far as it consists in preventing publication, is merely an instance of the more general right of the individual to be let alone. Now, that's a mouthful. What does that mean? Protection afforded to thoughts, sentiments, and emotions expressed through the medium of writing or of the arts, so far as it consists in preventing publication, is merely an instance of the enforcement of the more general right of the individual to be let alone. Now, where does my lane start and my lane end? If you hear someone speaking your name and they deny it, where does that leave you? If you hear them speaking your name many times and they deny it, where does that leave you? If you hear them speaking your name, but now we're talking about the right of privacy, would it be a violation of the right of privacy to inquire about that? Would that be harassment to continue to revisit the issue every time that your name is brought up? Would that constitute harassment? I'm just fronting an issue. I wasn't born like this. I'm actually a pretty nice and happy person, but I like to clarify things. If I'm wrong, how much does it cost? Why? Let's get on with the conversation. Let's fix it. If I'm in the right, then the reverse is true. That's as simple as it is for me. I don't have to make all these emotional arguments, convoluted psychology, dark psychology shit. People have the right to be let alone. Like I said, somebody who's antisocial is very good at trying to get under your skin because they have antisocial personality disorder. They're a sociopath. That's what it's called, a sociopath. Usually those people end up in jail or in prison. That's the track that they're on. Call it whatever you want. I've visited this issue repeatedly with people. Like for slavery to stop, the first slave had to get up and get beat up. And then one said, "Hey, that's not right." And they got beat up too until they wouldn't take that anymore and started to fight back. I don't go out of my way to go harass people or bother people or spy on people or do anything like that. I care about psychology, but I don't care about somebody. I don't have an interest in somebody who doesn't want me to have an interest in them, unless they have a malicious interest in me. That's how I am. I can hang out with people. I can be cordial with people. I can resolve things. I can let bygones be bygones. I'm not going to do that if I don't feel that the same is being afforded to me. And if I have to lose every single case that I ever bring up, then so be it. Somebody will know exactly what's happening, and somebody, the right person, will join to prevent this malfeasance. I'm not about torture, not in the military, not in prisons, not of anyone. I'm not about the death penalty. I feel like both of those things are removing the country from God. But that's been said hundreds of times in hundreds of years, so I don't expect anything different now. The two people agree on something, consent to something, that's one thing. If they don't, then it's imbalance. So you're not looking too good. She said, yeah, you should see yourself. Like those backhand compliments. Like they're not really compliments. Like, oh well, there she's trying. I make good learners out of everybody. Sleep inertia, the need for good nutrition, and electrolytes, especially for people who exercise every day and work out like me. Protein, its benefits, even for pain. Exercise, sunlight. It's like, why would I upload a video like this? Why? Oh, because I know somebody else out there is probably going through the same thing. Probably feels like they're trapped. Probably feels like they have no say or have to be constantly distracted, or harassed or bothered. There's probably somebody else like that out there. Like real harassment, covert harassment type stuff. It's the nature of being covert. You can't find them. You can't locate it, right? So I go and I ask an attorney and say, well, where's the evidence? And I say, well, okay. How do I go about getting that? Do I have to settle for civil? Not as high of a standard. I have to settle for that. All you gotta do is deny it, right? Just get everybody to join in. It's the right thing to do. We feel it's right. We know it's right. I know I was thinking about the Innocence Project the other day. How before 1984, we didn't have access to DNA, fingerprinting technology, or DNA matching technology was created shortly after. First, there was a case in England, and then there was a case in Florida. The man did a heinous crime. Of course, Florida, right? Always. Get on the donkey. Let's do it in Florida. So many people were exonerated because they found out how to test for it finally. And then you think of all the people that went to jail and went to prison for no reason, based on a false claim. How many thousands, how many hundreds of thousands of people? You gotta feel bad about things. I mean, that's normal. You gotta feel the full range of emotions, or at least don't make the full range of behavioral mistakes. Before they had the technology, all those people suffered for no reason because they did not have the technology to defend themselves in the court of law. All those people suffered. And people want to say I'm too serious sometimes and all this stuff like that. It just reinforces me every time. I think they can hear me. You look around, you see all these problems at schools and bullies and shootings and fights and all this stuff. And what's happening? Why is everybody acting like this? You know, atheism, makes a lot of sense, but nothing about nothing like faith. Once thought tried to say, oh, well, maybe these are two sides of the same coin. We're all looking at the same thing, the same mountain, just seeing it from different angles, different perspectives. Postmodernism. I didn't know I was approaching that when I was even speaking about that, but that's what it was. 10 years, 12 years ago, 13 years ago in college. And then you see people like Christopher Hitchens shocks us with reason again. Well, doesn't have to lose faith. I'm not saying that. But can people bring up history? How do all these things come about? Christopher Hitchens said. Raping and pillaging. Does it not say it in the Bible? And you think, no, that's not what it's really about. You've been to those services, the good ones. You knew the message was helpful. You knew what it was about. You didn't feel it was about some notion of if God actually exists or not. You know, it was about something else. But the good parts of the faith, the faith, the forgiveness. And then you say, oh man, but I can't go without casting out demons. If I feel like somebody's behaving demonically, don't I have the same power to, I mean, if they believe and I believe, and it's two consenting beings, right? Doesn't have anything to do with any atheists or has anything to do with anyone else. Why shouldn't we slug our devils out? Why should I be able to cast out what I feel is demonic in someone else? So my ancestors were a Native American. Okay. We lost a lot. We lost a lot of land, a lot of people. To people who conquered and destroyed them. And every year we celebrate Thanksgiving for the ones that, I should say, we greeted with open arms and Plymouth Rock. There would be no America if they were wiped out. The Indians didn't let them in. But this land is their land, this land is our land. We're sharing this land, right? Should we drill? Should we not drill? You know, you get brokes for so long especially if you're in school, that if they could do it correctly, yeah, that's what we want. If they couldn't do it correctly, like making good with the Indians in that area, they need to make good with, not having any spills or providing maybe some evidence about we're the best at coal burning, oil production, oil drilling, fracking, to cause the least damage. Maybe it'll go through. Can it be done correctly? You always complain about the government. Oh, the government can't get anything right. If you ask the government to do it, it's going to take 100 years. One of the most important classes I ever took was the philosophy of science. Talked about the great thinkers, Socrates, Aristotle, Plato, how they contributed to our westernized thinking, Western civilization as we have it and as we know it today. What is justice? What is friendship? It's what Socrates. What is justice? They made him drink poison and he died because he was inspiring the students to think for themselves. You don't need anything else to think. Question everything. Question everything. That's what it says. That's what Socrates was saying. Yeah, you know about justice. What is justice then? Explain it. If you know what it is, explain it. Friendship. Explain it. What is it? It forces people to think. Oh, yeah, I didn't ever. Let's think about it. See what friendship is and what isn't. See what justice is and what justice isn't. Justice isn't. That's what I'm doing. Getting people to think. Question. Are these? Is this how we want life to be on this side of the earth, or do we want life to be different? Can there be solutions, common ground, resolutions, or does there have to be conflict, continuous argument, and war, fights, or leaving? Does it take all of that? People usually have a lot to say when you're when you're down. When you're on the way up, they have a lot less to say. I always thought it was funny. Like it's a funny thing. Why? Because everyone's equal, and you know everyone has the same potential, and ability, and motivation, right? Intellect. But we try to put people down mentally, right? Like they're lower or they're higher than we are until they rise again. I'm always about people rising. I'm not about people blocking other people's way or doing little tiny little things to make it harder and not owning up to it. I'm not about stressing systems that I learned to love, biological systems, legal systems, emotional systems. I'm not about any of that. Sometimes, you can laugh it off. Sometimes you can't. And I don't think you should have to every single time because it makes you like a puppet. It's like pull the string on Tickle Me Fucking Elmo. I like Mnuchin, Dr. Mnuchin. There's a video, family therapy, couple family therapy, Dr. Mnuchin, like the 80s or the 70s. After listening to the entire ordeal the family was going through, histories of both sides of the family, breakups, divorces, creating a genogram, a family tree with not only just medical or just any challenges that they're having, but also strengths. After doing all of that, after they brought their kid in for therapy, the kid was acting out. He told the mother and the father, stop playing with the kid and work on yourselves. You, mother, work on the relationship with uh, your husband. You, Mr. Father, work on your relationship with your wife. Mold each other. Don't go meddling with the children and ruining their lives because you haven't worked it out with your partner. I mean, rough electric shocks. Because if you do that, the kid's going to grow up and he's going to hate you. And you're not going to know why. That's all I got to say about that.